Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump right in and talk about today's game where my Eagles, I knew I was not feeling good about this game. We are actually pretty fortunate to tie the winless Cincinnati Bengals today, which is not good, not good. We looked okay on defense. Nate Gary, once again, has been out of position, as I said before. It's almost like Cincinnati listened to my video. Not like they do. I'm not that popular. But they followed the game plan and attacked him, and it worked to the point of them getting points on the board and almost enough to win. Wentz is just absolutely off. For all the balls that he threw deeper, he connected on one of them. The other ones were horrendous. And the blown pass, I think it was to Miles Sanders or whoever it was, that the guy had like 2-3 yards on the defender, which it would have been an easy touchdown. In that case, we would have been leading and we should have won the stinking game or been in more control. That was just a very, very, very bad pass that should be routine for an average quarterback. And then finally, the call, I mean, I wish I was live streaming because you knew I was at my brother's and I'm yelling at the screen as much as I'm going to for this game that I didn't feel that good about, but I'm saying, no, bring the field goal unit on because the game clock is right with the play clock and they were mirroring each other, right? And I said, no, bring the field goal unit on. My brother's like, no, don't do that. I'm like, why not do it? He's like, no, they can run another play. It's like, no, you might throw an interception, you might get a sack, whatever it might be. What you do is, you let the field goal unit come on, you get down to 3 seconds, you hike the ball, and then you kick it, and then whatever happens, that's the end of the game. Right? Instead, we try to run a play, then we got a false start, we move out of field goal range, then we punt for the tie. That's sad. Thinking about what I would do in practice this next week, if I ever come up with again that kind of situation, what I would do is I would actually practice hard counting on 5. Hit the hard count on 5. Tell everybody you're going to go at 3, but hard count on 5 because then the defense jumps off sides, potentially, most likely because they're going to try to block the field goal. You get a free kick anyway. If it goes in, you decline, game's won. If it doesn't, you get an extra 5 yards. And then you try again because the game can't end on a defensive penalty. See, like teams that think very fast and smart, and this is showing gaps in our coaching because as soon as the clock was running and we were in field goal range, which is still going to be like a 50-something yard field goal, but he made a 54 earlier, so there's no reason to think he couldn't. The kicking unit should have come out on the field. So with that being said, we also didn't run the ball as much as we should have. I think we should be heavily relying on the run. Heavily relying and not being obvious also on those jet sweeps that you see when they're coming. But we're gaining like 6, 7, 8 yards a pop. And then, we end up in something in 3 and we choose not to run it. It's like, man, go with what works because you keep dropping back with Wentz. And he's not doing good. Like once in a while, Ertz has not been as clutch as he's been in the past. He caught a couple balls today, and that's good. But we're not in sync in our passing game, so we should be relying heavily on a running game. In the final drive, I'm sitting there, and people like getting all hyped because we get pass interference call after pass interference call, but I'm like, man, we can't win like this. Like, we can't be relying on pass interference to get us down the field. And the reason why we scored is because Wentz ran it. Because Deshaun was in the middle of the field, and he just couldn't pull the trigger because something's inside of his head now. And he's just blocked. Just absolutely blocked. And I see it a mile away. Jalen Hurts came in, and he proposes a threat. I don't know why we wouldn't use him on short yardage, especially if you intend on using him like Hill, like they use over in New Orleans. So something's going on with the Birds, right? And we got some hard games coming up. Some really hard games coming up. And I said this, and some people tried to devalue it. Oh, you care about, not all you care about, but what's really bothering you is the racial blah, blah. Right? Like, that has nothing to do with today's game. The guy tried to tell me or whatever. You're allowed to have your opinion. If somebody wants to comment and watch the video, okay, come on, I don't care. But I didn't feel good about this game because of how people are playing. Jason Peters is getting old. He was getting pushed around today. Deshaun Jackson is old. I like Deshaun Jackson. I remember him running all over Dallas. I didn't like it when we got rid of him, especially with the Chip Kelly. Obviously, Chip Kelly was like the worst. There's some benefits of us having him for a short period of time, getting people in shape, but otherwise, he's just made bad moves. Kiko Alonso, right? But like, man, Deshaun is old. He's done. His quad is done again. All of our wide receivers are not like, we drafted a lot, and there's like 4 top ones that aren't even playing. But we got Deshaun was out, and Rager's out 6 to 8 weeks, and Watkins is out. And then the guy we got from San Fran, he's like opted out. He's like, COVID, no, I can do this, bye. And Nate Gary, man, I have to bring this up. Jalen Mills, please, stop celebrating when the play that you made is not that great. Like, even that sack that you had was not really like boom, like Brian Dawkins type I'm flying from the sky, Weapon X type sack. And also, when you're down to Cincinnati, stop celebrating on their way into the touchdown, or scoring points or kicking you all over the field. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, where is the coach to grab him by the face mask and say, hey, look, idiots, see that scoreboard up there? I don't see any of you guys celebrating until we're winning on that scoreboard. Okay? Man. But the weird thing is, I'm not even like insanely pissed, right? Because I knew going into the day, like, I didn't feel good about this game. I don't feel good about the beginning of the season. The weird thing is, I think I just even looked. Seattle's beating the mess out of stinking Dallas, which I hope Dallas doesn't come back and beat Atlanta. More on that in a second. But our division stinks, right? I think Washington lost to Cleveland today by like 2 touchdowns, like 34-20. Washington got blown the heck out. We tied the Bengals, and then Dallas is tying right now to Seattle. Our division sucks. If it wasn't for Dallas coming back and beating Atlanta with the whatever pickle kick or whatever they call it, talking about, our division would have 1 win and a tie, right? So like, our division's horrible. So right now, even with the tie, Dallas holds on to their loss, then we're a half game out of first place. This is going to be a weird year where like 7-9 is going to win our division. So, yeah, I mean, special teams did their job. Nate Gary is just out of position and lost all the time. Jalen Mills, stop celebrating and all this mess and all that. Stop. We're not getting the pushes that we need to. When we blitz, it's the wrong time. Offense, Carson Wentz is just not good. Like, Jason Peters is showing his age now and getting pushed around, and Carson Wentz can't hit a deep ball. Like, call what it is. And of course, I'm going to bring this up. Whatever, I'm going to let this fly. There's a reason why the Bears came back and won today. And it goes by the name of Nick Foles. I'm going to bring that up because I'm sitting there with my brother and he's poo-pooing all over Nick Foles, right? And yeah, obviously I was wearing my Nick Foles for my last video and stuff, but I think in our system, he is a good fit, right? And then when you leave the guy alone, he has no expectation, so he just slings it. And today he even had 2 touchdowns called back on him. He still scored 3 of them. And they benched Mitch Trubisky because here's the deal. The Bears are all in on Mitch Trubisky because if they admit that they made a mistake, then their draft process stuff is going to be under scrutiny. And nobody likes to admit that they made a significant error, like drafting somebody in the first round, right? And then bring in some dude that's a backup and just totally whoop it. So Nick Foles is always destined to like lose in the eyes of people until he doesn't. And then guess what's going to happen? They're still going to bring back Mitch, or they're going to put Foles in a compromised position. It's going to look like garbage, or they're going to try to put all the crazy expectation, and who knows what's going to happen from there. I think Nick Foles is a good quarterback. I do. I naturally do. And he's a Super Bowl MVP with my team, and I believed him the entire time. I said it even in 2012. I still believe it today. Do I think the Eagles are going to pick him up? No, I don't. So, yeah, part of the conversation is just dumb to even have. Jalen Hurts is right there, but the Eagles, just like Mitch Trubisky with the Bears, just like Matt Ryan with Atlanta, because Atlanta's not going to win anything with Matt Ryan. He's not a bad quarterback, but they're not going to win anything with him. They need to move on to the next step so they actually have a shot at winning. And with their coach, because obviously they're doing something wrong, they keep blowing these huge leads, like this week against the Bears, last week against Dallas, and I don't know, the Super Bowl against the Patriots when you're up 28-3. So these organizations just grab a hold of their quarterback and they ride them all the way to almost the end before they get fired. Then they have to do something different. I mean, Andy Reid did the same thing. I see a pattern with it, and we're doing the same thing here in Philadelphia. It's very clear to me, and I have no problem saying that. I know somebody's going to say something, they don't agree with my opinion. Sure, here's the other deal. You might not agree with my opinion, but I have content. I've been doing this for more than 10 years. I've been on YouTube for like, 12, 13 years. And I've been doing these Eagles videos for almost 10 years. If you got a negative comment, I'd love to have somebody that has a really opinionated comment that has content in their channel for like a couple seasons. That'd be kind of cool. Otherwise, it's just another person that just recently logged onto YouTube and wants to be negative and then hide. Where's the balls in that? So I'm just gonna let it fly. Our Eagles stink. They're still my team. I'm still rocking all my stuff. I still got some stuff from Larry's near St. Joe's and got some cheesesteaks and pizza and took them over to my brothers, had a good time. And then came home and who knows from there. The Eagles now are 0-2-1 and off to the next week where it only gets harder.